We are back from California. Literally just got back from an overnight flight. That's why we look so fresh and so clean. From
Nice.
Meta, where we actually got a late look, but also an early look at the Orion glasses. I'm saying a late look because other people have already seen it, and I was in Australia when they asked if I wanted to see it, but then I kept expressing interest, and they were like, do you still want to see it? And I was like, yeah, and so now I'm going to see it. These are products that are never coming out, but that initially had intentions of coming out, which is a set of full augmented reality smart glasses from Meta. And they aren't quite like anything we've ever seen. Just to sort of lay the background of what this actually is, I am currently wearing the existing Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. There is no display to these glasses. There's just a camera, speakers, batteries, headphones. I can talk to it, and AI will talk back to me in my ear. Great. But if I want to see anything, I can't. If I want to, look at my answer instead of have it read back to me, I can't. Then if you remember Google Glass from 8 to 10,000 years ago.
Never heard of it.
Google Glass, ahead of its time, as I always say, actually had a display up in the corner of your field of view. So there was a little projector and a little prism, and it would project text and graphics and actual answers to Googled queries in the corner of your field of view. So it wouldn't be overlaid over your real world, but anytime you look up into that corner of your vision, you could see what it's displaying. Not quite AR, but a step in the right direction. And then you have something like, a Quest or a Vision Pro, which is a full-on virtual reality headset. This completely covers your vision and puts displays in front of your eyes and will either show you a new world or show you with pass-through your existing world through cameras.
I think... Hi, I'm here on the
Yeah, Ellis is in the hot seat.
I think...
now.
Thank
Is that only playing out of his computer?
It is.
I forgot to set the...
We still heard it.
We're tired.
Oh, God. Okay, I noticed all the Meta executives only referred to the Quests as MR. They really did not want to call it VR, which is different than AR.
And Apple calls the Vision Pro spatial computing, and I've given up trying to use all their fancy names. They're virtual reality headsets. They just are. Anyway, the point is, we haven't seen an AR glasses thing actually working up until now. But what this is essentially special lenses that can overlay anywhere in your field of view. It's a 70-degree field of view.
Yeah.
Almost anywhere in front of your actual field of view and tracked onto the actual real world in front of you. So if you think of my best analogy is like headphones that are noise canceling that have like a transparency mode. So you have regular music playing and then you have the noise canceling and you just hear the music, and then you turn transparency mode on and it feeds in the real world through microphones. That's a VR headset. This is open back headphones. This is your actual real world with graphics overlaid on top of it. And there's a lot of computing and a lot of physics and a lot of material science and chemistry that goes into making this happen. And that is all going to be broken down in a video that we are working on. It is fascinating stuff. But at the end of the day, we all got to try it and see what today's version of that tech looks like. And maybe we should go over each of our thoughts and impressions from those couple hours we spent.
Do it.
I guess I'll start with like, what did they actually look like?
Yeah.
Because we've seen like prototypes and we've seen, Magic Leap, and we've seen other things that look very much like a prototype-y.
Yeah, in video, they look pretty massive.
Yeah.
I think you bringing the Meta Ray-Bans in is a really good just like starting point or reference of these things from anything we've seen of attempted AR glasses like a HoloLens or a Magic Leap are miles ahead of that.
They look even more like glasses than real glasses.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I do think one thing they kept saying is like, these are glasses. You can tell these are glasses. And I do think that's true. They are thick. They are not even really like when you look at the Ray-Ban glasses, which are actually thicker than regular Ray-Bans, at least in the stems, the ear. I don't know what you call the side parts.
We Googled this when this came out and I forgot the name.
Okay.
Arms?
The arms.
Is it
of the
arms?
glasses.
It might be
Arms?
arms. I forget.
But they're significantly bigger. I was kind of relating them to, if anyone's watched Schitt's Creek, like something David Rose would wear, maybe like maybe thicker. And there's definitely types of glasses where people use thicker frames. I don't think these would pass off as regular glasses to anyone yet.
Not quite. They're close.
If you were a sufficiently
close.
eccentric individual,
Fair.
then I could see someone being like, "Oh, you chose crazy glasses." But yeah, I agree with the most part.
And I think what's going to be hard about talking about these is I can't quite figure out what I think about them, because in like one hand, what they've done to achieve that is like wild. Like they've
project.
put inside of that small form factor is so crazy, but they still are definitely quite a bit away from being just replacing a pair of glasses to feeling like a regular pair of glasses. So I feel like I'm going to go back and forth this whole time of being like, this was one of the wildest things I've ever seen, to like, it's not really that close yet.
Yeah, I think, but yeah, both can be true. I think we lived through the boom of smartphones. We went from not having real smartphones to having the first gen smartphones, which were kind of rough but kind of revolutionary in the input, and then having the smartphones we have today, which are amazing. And you can kind of look at this as like the beginning of smartphones again for this form factor. The resolution was not great. It was kind of pixelated. There were, flares and different like lights that kind of sort of bled through the waveguides. Like it wasn't perfectly transparent all the time. It was a little bit tinted. There were things that didn't track perfectly. There were things in input that weren't extremely responsive. But the fact that I was looking through clear glass at actual overlaid graphics on top of the world in front of me.
Not glass.
Sorry. Silicon carbide. That was amazing. And that felt like the revolutionary part in the same way that maybe multi-touch on a glass screen was revolutionary for smartphones.
Before we go too far into this, can we say that, and they've said this, but it was a product that they were pretty close on letting consumers have, and then decided to keep it as an internal development prototype?
I think the phrasing would be they initially intended this to be, but not close yet.
They mentioned that they wanted to iterate it one or two more times.
Yes.
Which is so cool of you guys.
I honestly think it was like, it's the right decision.
Yeah.
No, it was a great decision.
We've had such a year of companies releasing things that are not ready, or worse, saying they're going to release something that's not ready and then taking 7 years and still not releasing it. So for them to be like, show and tell, see you soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's interesting because some companies you would probably not want that from. Like I've heard a lot of chatter and seen some posts about how like Apple would never do this. Apple would never show us something on stage, like a presentation, and then be like, but we're not selling this to anyone. No one can ever have it. It would be a weird thing for them to do. They love to finish something before they sell it. But for Meta, the benefit for them, well, that's a rare miss. But I think for Meta, their benefit is they get to show that they are a leader in this space. And maybe for some companies watching, they're like, oh, look how far they've gotten. We haven't thought of that. There's some interesting things here. So it is cool that they are actually presenting something that they've been working on.
Yeah. I think there are people who would want to try new revolutionary things that would pay for that and probably pay a wild amount, but I don't think enough people that would make it worth it. And I think keeping it as this internal testing device so they can make it the iterations better, because we got to see some photos of like the old iterations that looked like your Master Chief in a
Halloween
Halo
costume.
Yeah. Or like one of the like saw torture devices like on their heads. And the fact that how quickly they've gotten to this mistakably glasses form factor is really impressive.
And solved
in air quotes
a lot of the other kind of things that hold a lot of these products back, like the fact that the puck is wireless.
I should mention there's some things that come with the glasses experience. So there are the glasses that you're wearing that have a ton of compute in them, sensors, cameras, speakers, etc. But there is also two other things. One is there is a separate computer about the size of a smartphone that is wirelessly connected to it via Wi-Fi 6, I believe.
It would fit snugly in a glasses case without much air.
And that is doing a lot of the app logic. That is a separate computer that's wirelessly connected, must be within about 10 to 15 feet of it at all times. And there is also a separate input device. It can do hand tracking and eye tracking, but there's also a bracelet that uses a technology called electromyography. And to, I guess, oversimplify what it's doing is you put this bracelet on and it's essentially reading the electrical signals as they fire through the nerves in your wrist so that when you make different gestures and scroll and do things with your arms and hands, it translates that as input into the glasses UI.
It's crazy.
It
And
was
works.
the most impressive thing we saw.
It was pretty cool
I couldn't, because you got to try a prototype of it a very long time ago.
years ago.
And even them you hear it reading electric connection between your muscles or whatever. And no matter what company that is, you're like, all right.
Okay.
I don't think I used it for 10, 15 minutes maybe. I can't think of a single time it didn't correctly trigger the thing I was trying to do.
According to them, they feel like they can progress the technology to the point where they can recognize your handwriting solely by monitoring the different electrical paths running through your forearm, which is...
That to me seems insane.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
What it did to me seemed insane.
Yeah,
And
what it already did is
I was
crazy.
really impressed. Yeah.
So it did have a little haptic feedback. It's like the size of a smartwatch band. It would tap the back of your wrist as you did inputs. So it sort of confirmed that you were doing what you were doing. But yeah, it was literally like pinch your finger in midair behind your back, totally out of view of the glasses, and it would pick it up because it's reading the electrical inputs through your wrist. Really impressive.
Wait,
that
so
it
can I
worked.
ask a question?
Yeah.
The information flow, I'm assuming, would go from the wristband to the puck to the glasses?
Oh, I'm so glad.
So wristband is actually also directly connected to the glasses. This time via Bluetooth.
I thought the wristband was connected to the puck via Bluetooth and the glasses were connected to the puck via Wi-Fi.
Yeah, but they have, I mean, there's a ton of custom silicon in here to make all the sensors work. There's a ton of they split up the batteries in the different parts of the arm of the band to keep it better balanced. The whole thing weighs under 100 grams.
Under
It
50
is-
grams.
No.
These are the 50 grams.
They said their standard,
99.
they want to be under 50 for glasses, and but this was under 100.
Oh, was it? Or they said that these were 40.
No.
My bad.
So yeah, they're super, super cool. So here's the 3 things that they let me do with the glasses. Because you might be wondering, okay, you have this crazy tech. It does something with your input. Cool. What do you actually do with it? The software is not even done yet. It's not really a full OS, but I did 3 things. One was a sort of a regular multitasking experience, like sitting on a couch, open up a window, watch some Instagram reels, open up a browser, watched a Hot Ones episode.
Wait.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
You heard that right.
Yep.
There is an Instagram app for a device that does not exist and not the iPad.
Honestly, I love the level of petty. That's so funny.
Adam, let's talk.
We were walking to Jack in the Box, as Californians do, and we walked past, we were just walking, and I noticed on the map it said Instagram HQ, and we all looked at the building and then could see the Meta headquarters, and we're like, that is a lean building. That is a smaller building. So maybe I do believe them.
Relatively speaking, smaller than the Meta HQ. But yeah, no, these were windows floating in the air in front of me, tracked over my actual environment. So I was looking at the actual couch and the actual people around me, but then right in between them, there was a translucent browser window with a Hot Ones episode playing that I was watching. And no one could see what I was watching because it just looks like I'm wearing glasses, and there's some little glints of purple every now and then, but you really can't see or hear unless you have the volume all the way up what I'm actually doing.
How did it look? Did it look like a screen, or was it a weird projection thing?
The thing that it reminded me, I mean, I don't think you've ever seen this, but it had sort of looked similar to the Samsung transparent micro LED displays with a much lower resolution.
Oh, I have seen those
But
at CES.
It also had a similar fraying around the edges to those spinning transparent displays. Do you know what I'm talking? Like the single band of LEDs that spin so fast and form a continuous. That is honestly the display technology that I would compare it most to visually.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was some chat from Meta about how, these are internal, so we knew we could have actually doubled the resolution at the expense of thermals, but we didn't. You could tell it was pretty low resolution. But just in general, the fact that I was moving windows around, I was multitasking, I was just with natural input sort of dragging things around, resizing windows in a very similar way, honestly, to Vision Pro. It had similar UI elements like close window X's and grab the tab at the bottom, move the window. I'll have a screen recording that I think will be in the main video as well, so you can see sort of what I saw when I was doing this. The second thing that I tried was looking at a bunch of ingredients on a table and asking Meta's AI to tell me something that I could make with them. A very contrived demo, if I'm being honest. Like, it's a bag of dates that said dates in all caps on it. Like, how hard could that be? But what I found interesting was it looked at all the things and then it dropped a pin, a little glowing pin on each of those things. And so I moved my head around and I looked around the room and I looked back and each of those was glowing and tracked in real time. I thought that was super cool. And then it would tell me, yeah, you can make a smoothie, which, yeah, no that's what you're supposed to do with these
It's
things.
always a smoothie or an omelet.
Yeah, you can make an omelet, trust me.
Drink omelet.
But I think that was most impressive to me because of the tracking. Like, the dots would track over the objects, which is cool. The last thing was games, actually. They built a couple games, which is cool. One of them was like a head-tracked space fighter, like
3D asteroids.
3D asteroids game. It was kind of like in a tunnel, so you would move your head around and actually dodge things. I'm sure you looked real dumb like this with glasses on where no one can see what you're doing, but you're playing a game. And the other was actually a multiplayer game. It kind of broke my brain. It was super low res, it was super low fidelity, but just the fact that you could do it so easily was amazing to me. 2 people with the Orion glasses on at once, both stare at a QR code in the room. That QR code becomes the placement lock for where the game appears. So that's all you have to do. Imagine, like, I've been talking about this with the Vision Pro, there's no shared experiences in quite the same way. You don't share the same virtual space in Vision Pro, but this is in your real physical space. There's a QR code, look at the table, you enter the shared space with that person, the game pops up, and it's Pong. And your hand is tracked to the paddle, and you just play 3D Pong back and forth in this little tunnel.
I already have so many
simple.
questions.
So simple of a concept. It's low res. Like, you can just break it easily by turning your head too fast. Like, if your hand's not close enough, you can miss. Like, you could get out of the immersion of it. But the fact that in 10 seconds you could set it up and share this invisible game that no one else in the room can see, that to me was like, oh, there's something here. This is really cool. The fact that you can do this at all. But go ahead. What questions? I have all the answers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, 2 sets of Orion glasses, right?
Yep.
Each with their own puck or connected to the same puck?
Each with their own puck.
Each with the own puck. Okay.
Yeah.
Next question. When you're playing Pong, is there like a Z axis?
Yes.
Yes.
There is.
So
And
imagine like a rectangular prism between me and you, and the ball is like bouncing across in through the prism to you, and then you hit it back, and it bounces across to me, and I just hit it back to you.
Can it go up like on the Y axis?
Yes.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's a pretty fun game.
Yeah.
So they're kind of explaining like the typical imagined scenarios for shared gaming. Like, they brought up chess a lot, and it turns out chess isn't a great example because there's all these little pieces, and the board has to be flat, and it kind of doesn't really work that well. You kind of want it to be like vertical in front of the 2 players.
What about life-size chess?
Or even vertical chess. Like, you could just flip the board vertical, I think, and it would be easier. But like,
I think Adam's talking about Harry Potter.
Not me.
I didn't even think of that. But yes, that they just kind of made these sort of retro feeling games because the nostalgia is most universal and it just looks cool.
And fits with the resolution the best, probably.
Also, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super down for any arcade style games like that in AR. That'd be sick.
Yeah, I want to play Pac-Man on that.
I think
You're running away from Pac-Man? Oh my gosh.
I think one cool thing we learned in the Pong demo, which was when Ellis went to play against Marques first, they did a really cool so there's multiple ways to interact with the glasses. The best way is with the wristband, and what it does is it has eye tracking, so that's how you're selecting things, and then you're using your hand motions to select, to bring up menus, to scroll with this cool like quarter flip. Like if you were flipping a coin on your hand, that's how you scroll. That's the gesture. But if you want, there's also is hand gestures, and the calibration needed is like you can hand off a pair of glasses to someone without doing a full calibration and still have fairly accurate controls. So like Ellis took a pair of glasses, didn't calibrate, wasn't wearing the wrist strap, and just through hand movement and the eye tracking, which comes from the side. One thing I found interesting and never thought about is eye tracking on AR glasses is so much harder because in VR, they can essentially put the camera lenses directly in front of your eyes. You can't do that when it's a clear pass through. Yeah. So they need to come from the side. And I thought they were pretty accurate.
One of the things we asked them was like, if the quests do all the hand tracking stuff, and there's this EMG bracelet is not a part of that. So why did you feel the need to add like a second sensor when the hand? There are more gestures, but they're not like crazy complicated gestures. And they brought up a bunch of reasons why they like having like a multimodal experience for that. But one of the things they brought up is, in the final product form of this, you should just be able to take off your glasses, put them on someone else, and they should have the experience. Like you don't need to take off the wristband. You don't need to like googly eyes around. Like just you're in.
All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. We're gonna continue to play Pong in VR because that's what you do when you visit Meta. Is you get to play and add spin to the ball.
If you watch the main channel video, you'll see what it actually looked like to play Pong. But this is sort of our recreation until we...
yeah, this is the best we can do for now.
Recreation. That's not a word. Whoa! Reenactment. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Thank you.
That was the best one.
I was trying so hard for one of you guys to like miss.
I did. I went like this.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like dragged my head across the table so you didn't hit it.